These rolls were made 4 days ago, yet they're still soft. That's why I call them garlic cloud rolls. Garlic bread meets super soft dinner rolls meets cheesy bread. Delightfully light in texture, yet packing huge flavor. Let me show you how to make a garlic butter that uses science to create triple the garlic flavor. Hey, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sheldon, but my friends call me Sheldo, so why don't you do the same? Today we're making garlic cloud rolls. That's right, garlic cloud rolls. These guys are so ridiculously soft and light, and I'm beyond excited to share this recipe with you. These rolls use science to create the ultimate marriage of texture and flavor. We'll be harnessing the properties of wheat starch to create the softest, lightest texture, and also manipulate the flavor compounds in garlic to create a well-rounded garlic flavor. The secret to the light texture of these cloud rolls is a cooked water flour roux, also known as Tangzhong. Whisk together 30 grams or 2 tablespoons bread flour with 120 grams or half cup milk. Feel free to use a dairy-free substitute. Microwave on high in 20-second increments, whisking vigorously in between to disperse any lumps. Keep whisking and cooking until you have a thick, pudding-like consistency. This should only take 3 to 4 bursts in the microwave. The Tangzhong allows us to add lots of moisture to the dough while not making it too sticky to work with. When the wheat starch and flour is heated with water past 140 Fahrenheit, the starch gels, binding the water into a thick paste. The exact same amount of water still in the paste, but it's thickened and doesn't flow like water anymore. This is the magic trick that lets us create a very hydrated dough that still doesn't feel too wet. The added moisture has many benefits, primarily making the bread super soft and helping the bread rise when the water turns to steam in the heat of the oven. To the hot Tangzhong, add another 120 grams milk and 1 large egg, both cold from the fridge. This will cool everything down so that we can use it in the dough immediately. Stir in 2 1/4 teaspoons instant yeast. Pour the mixture into the bottom of a stand mixer bowl. On top of it, add 350 grams or 2.5 cups bread flour, 30 grams or 2 tablespoons sugar, and 1 teaspoon or 6 grams table salt or fine sea salt. To give the dough a head start, use the dough hook and stir just until most of the flour is hydrated. Turn the mixer to medium-low and knead for 5 minutes until the doughs come together into a smooth ball. Increase the speed to medium. Gradually add in 56 grams or 4 tablespoons of softened, unsalted butter, a little bit at a time. Squish each piece of butter to help it incorporate better. After each addition, the butter will make everything slippery, preventing the dough from catching onto the dough hook. Keep mixing and adding butter gradually. The dough will eventually absorb the butter and begin kneading again. Every so often, nudge any errant pieces of butter back into the dough and flip it over to encourage mixing. Trust the process and keep going, it will come together. Once all the butter has been fully incorporated into the dough, keep kneading to develop gluten. It'll take about 12 to 15 minutes more from this point on. The dough is ready when it can be stretched out into a thin, translucent membrane. Scrape the dough onto the counter, give it a few final slap and folds or kneads to shape it into a smooth ball. This is one of my favorite doughs to work with. It's so soft, stretchy, and supple. Now I'm using my hands to pull the bottom of the dough ball towards me, allowing the friction of the table to help pull the surface of the ball taut. Rotate and repeat this until we end up with a smooth ball of dough. Add some oil to a large clean bowl. Use the dough ball to smear the oil around, then plop it into the bowl smooth side up. Cover with a lid or plastic wrap. Leave in a warm place to proof until doubled in size, about 30 to 50 minutes, temperature dependent. While the dough's resting, let's talk garlic. To capture the full spectrum of garlic flavor, we're gonna combine freshly crushed garlic, cooked garlic, and garlic powder. Garlic's flavor comes from a compound called allicin, which doesn't actually exist in whole garlic cloves. It's only when the cloves are crushed or chopped that the two components allicin, which exists separately in garlic and are flavorless on their own, can come together to form allicin. Heating past 140 Fahrenheit deactivates one of the two components, mellowing the bite of garlic and bringing out its sweetness and nuttiness. On the other hand, garlic powder is made by drying garlic at temperatures low enough to not deactivate its flavor. Removing the water concentrates its flavor compounds. However, without water, the reaction which forms allicin can't occur. To bring out the flavor of garlic powder, water must be added to wake it up. Putting garlic powder straight into butter or oil, like many recipes call for, creates little to no flavor, defeating the purpose of using garlic powder at all. Combine 2 teaspoons garlic powder and 2 teaspoons water. Add in a half teaspoon of salt. Then 2 cloves of crushed garlic. I prefer using a rasp grater because you don't even have to peel the cloves. A garlic press would work just as well. I've got 170 grams or 3/4 cup cold unsalted butter in a microwave safe bowl. Add half the butter to the garlic powder and set it aside. Microwave the bowl without garlic on high for 30 seconds to melt the butter. Then add 4 cloves of crushed garlic to the melted butter. Stir, cover, then microwave for 1 minute, stirring halfway through. This cooks the garlic, mellowing out its flavor and infusing the butter with garlic, while the 2 cloves we set aside are left raw to retain their fresh flavor. Pour the hot garlicky butter into the other bowl, stir until combined and all of the solid butter has melted. This cools down the hot butter, helping the whole thing thicken to a spreadable consistency. Leave the garlic butter to rest while the dough finishes proofing. Once the dough is risen but not overproofed, sprinkle some flour to prevent sticking. Then punch down the dough to deflate it. Flour the work surface. Transfer the dough out, smooth side up, and lightly flour the surface of the dough and a rolling pin. We're aiming to roll out into an 18-inch by 12-inch rectangle with the long side facing us. Start by rolling out the 4 corners first to square off the shape. If the dough springs back when rolled, the gluten is too tense. Rather than fighting it, walk away and leave it to rest for 5 minutes. Now check out the difference just 5 minutes has made. The dough is relaxed and doesn't spring back anymore when rolled. When almost at size, flip over so that the smooth side is now facing down. Keep rolling until at least 18 inches horizontally, as close as you can get it. The other dimension doesn't matter quite as much. It can range anywhere from 10 to 14 inches. Spread 2/3 of the garlic butter evenly all over the dough right to the edges. Save the rest of the butter for brushing on top later. Grate parmesan directly over the garlic butter. It's hard to give an exact amount here, maybe a half cup total, but just be generous. There's no real way of overdoing it. Press the cheese into the butter to adhere. Then fold the dough in half lengthwise with the open side facing us. Use a ruler to mark out 1.5 inch wide strips. Since the dough is 18 inches wide, we should get 12 strips exactly. Feel free to eyeball it though, or make these strips wider or narrower to customize the size of the rolls. Cut the strips using a sharp knife or a pizza cutter wheel. I'd actually recommend a pizza cutter, it'll be so much easier. I just couldn't find mine. To shape the cloud rolls, grab a strip by both ends and give it a gentle stretch. Then twist the strip over 3 times and holding on to one end, wrap around and around until you've reached the other end. Tuck this loose end into the center like a knot. Make sure all of the ends of the strip are tucked into or under the roll. Place the rolls onto 2 parchment-lined baking trays, 6 to a tray, spacing out evenly. Cover with plastic wrap or wet tea towels. Let the trays sit in a warm place to proof until the rolls are puffed up but not quite doubled in size. This will take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. 15 minutes before the end of proofing, preheat the oven to 350 Fahrenheit with the racks at the top third and the bottom third of the oven. Right before baking, melt the remaining butter and brush it over each roll. Use half the butter here, leaving the rest for brushing on top after baking. Adorn the top of the rolls with a final dusting of grated parmesan. Bake for 15 to 20 minutes until the rolls are puffed up, browned around all of the edges, and golden all over, including the bottom. Swap the top and bottom trays halfway through baking. Immediately out of the oven, dab all the rolls with the remaining garlic butter. If there isn't enough butter left, melt another 2 to 3 tablespoons. Let the rolls cool slightly before diving right in. The garlic flavor here is present in a sophisticated way, intense yet not overwhelming, deep, nutty, and sweet. By taming Allison, we've captured all of the facets of garlic into every bite, infused with rich garlicky butter. When warm, these cloud rolls are unbelievably soft, so light and airy in texture, yet still structural and chewy. It's the Tangzhong along with gluten development that gives them this cloudy, wispy texture. The garlic cloud rolls can be kept on the counter in an airtight container for up to 5 days. To refresh, heat in the microwave for 10 to 12 seconds and they'll be as soft as the day they were baked. So there you go, garlic cloud rolls. I guess these rolls are supposed to accompany a dinner or something, but be prepared for them to steal the show. Don't say I didn't warn you, okay? Make these once and you're gonna be hooked. If you do give them a try at home, please comment below and let me know how it goes. I would love to hear from you. As always, full written recipe will be in the description. Thanks again for joining me here in my kitchen for some baking, making good food, and hopefully having a great time. I'll see you again very soon. Bye.